Hey guys, just another update. I promised a few people I would show some progress on the release 2. Again, not a lot of progress right now, but we're getting there. Okay, so for this one, we're just taking a look. Bill had a rough night last night, so he's a little bit. He didn't want to make this video anyway, but we're looking over at the Kerbal Space Center over there. We're just going to zoom out a little bit here and, test out some of these new parts that I've been working on. So here we have an extra wide carrier deck. Of course, this is just the regular decking here. I do have carrier decking, which would actually sit one level above this, but all I wanted to do was test the functionality of this piece here. And you all probably know what it is. So the lift goes up and down, big deal. Okay. Anyways, this is the 9 meter. Now 9 meter out to this yellow area here, so that's a border. It has about 8.4 meters here to here on the lift and 8.4 meters here to here on the lift, and I believe you have a headroom down below of about 2.5 meters. So you do have a little bit of limitations when you're building an aircraft until I decide to change the height of the lift and let it go down 2 levels or something. You're going to have height restriction on your aircraft and length and width restrictions. Of course, everything has to be built in the world with restrictions, so they're just going to have to, designers are going to have to live with it, because I can't, we're getting to the maximum extent of the size of things we're going to be able to make here without burning up people's computers or having to blow up the aircraft hangar. Anyways, to the point, we're going to go down. Now, of course, you're not seeing what's going on down below. There's an animation going on down below. Once that's prepared, it will start to lower the main deck, and here we go. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible by angling it a little bit here. Okay, so what if aircraft fall in here? Well, that's a possibility, but not with our lift, it isn't. So this will stop aircraft from falling in while the lift is in the down position. We go down below, and here is what it looks like down below. So as I was mentioning to people on the board, it takes you down 1 level. Here's your height restriction for your aircraft right here. So I don't know how many Kerbals tall that is. Probably about 4.5 to 5 Kerbals tall is your height restriction, 2.5 meters. You can go along, make aircraft, park. With my old aircraft, the little one that I was testing with was a 6 meter aircraft. That's the length of about 2 of these sections. You could fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You could probably fit 10 or 11 down in just this one segment, which is not the size of an aircraft carrier. I mean, this is just one segment here. If this the way it is, we're going to have some serious fun with this. I'll just show you the animation one more time. From below this time. So here we have the platform coming up. Now you may have guys working down here. You may have aircraft parked down here moving around. Let's just play around with the scenario. Okay, so what happens is you don't want aircraft or personnel falling in here. So we do have words here saying when a warning sounds, get out of the way kind of thing, and don't get caught getting destroyed. But you see how the floor seals back up? Now this workspace down here is totally walkable again. So no break in the floor. You can walk, you can drive vehicles over this all you want, and up above your vehicle's been lifted, and this is now your flight deck. You can fly from one end to the other, take off, everything. The only thing I'm having a problem with right now, and it's because I just did this really quickly, you can see that I put some struts on the other side. I put some struts along the bottom here to stitch it together. Right here there's a break. Now that break, if your guy steps on it or if your aircraft rolls along and hits that ledge, the aircraft is not going to like that. Your guy's not going to like that. So check your flight deck very carefully, especially once you want to start using it. There is a little bit of a height variation on this. I don't think it's enough to upset an aircraft. It could be. I don't know. Again, we have to do testing on this to make sure. If that's the case, your lift should be off to one side as much as possible, or at the very back of the carrier, and then take off that way. So again, another possibility for this is not an aircraft carrier at all, but it's actually a floating base, a floating spy base or something. You can use your imagination here. In any place, you want to have access, land a helicopter right on top of this puppy, and then just hit the button, the EVA, and just drop down in here, park your carrier, park your helicopter, whatever you want to do. If you want to have a winch with a rope system that pulls your helicopters in, if you want to have make sure that you have wheels that you can actually steer the helicopter, you can move it around on the inside. The sky's the limit with this. So I'm just trying to expand people's possibilities. I realize there's a few graphical glitches in here. I'll clean those up before I would ever release it. There's a few things on the, I must have just been off by a pixel or two or something's wrong with it. In any case, I think it's pretty darn good. I like the speed of it too. It's just I need to get the sounds on it now. I do have Cosby's anchor. I created that anchor for him. It's for big boats and it looks pretty cool. It's his mod. You can download it from his mods page. In the center here, I've made a little change. Normally I put those little thrusters on the front and the back of the boats to turn left and right. Now I have one gigantic one because this is a large ship. So we want to turn left, we want to turn right. Now the closer you are to the center of the mass of the ship, you're just going to go side to side instead of turning. So the further you put these back or forward, or if you have some on the front and the back and you reverse them from left to right, I just assign them to keys 1 to turn left, 3 to turn right, and 2 for main engines to go forward. If I have a reversing engine, it's usually 4. So this is the first time I've had this thing in the water. I don't know what it's capable of. I don't know where it's going to have developed problems. I don't know if it's going to be too much drag in the water, too much noise, whatever the case may be. This is what this is test flight for, basically test piloting, see where the problems are. Now we see that if you come in here, you're going to see something's being created here. If we take a look at the actual hull, see where it's flexing, see where there's a little bit of cracks between the seams. That's where it's bending and probably creating a problem in the water. I think this is pretty darn level, and it's going to burn fuel level because it has these two tanks and this main tank here. I put the main tank on there essentially to show scale. Okay, so if you want some scale, if you want to see some scale here, this is the biggest tank that comes in the stock game that I'm aware of. And that's the biggest tank. So this thing is 81 meters long. 81 meters is, I don't know, 250 something feet perhaps. So we're about, we're still, smaller than a World War II aircraft carrier at this point, but this is a good step forward. Let's just see what it's like turning. So I'll just point at the Kerbal Space Center. Like I said, you put that turning engine further back, or you put it further forward, and you're gonna have a quicker turn rate. I decided I didn't want too much of a turn rate on this. I just wanted to see what it could do, and that's where we are. Now again, I have this full of fuel, and this here is 5 tons. Of course, it should probably be heavier for the with the original release, you had ballast pieces. I'm gonna reskin them just to have a little, indicator on here that it has water in it. If it's a ballast piece, you'll be able to tell which one is a ballast piece, so you're not guessing all the time, because you do get a lot of deck pieces. So the ballast piece, you could simply shift water from that piece to another piece on the outlying edge, like these pieces here. You can put water into those, and what that does is you can balance your ship out if you have an imbalance somewhere. Based it off more of a World War II kind of aircraft lift. And I also made it slow for a purpose. Whenever something is dropping in the game, it thinks it's weightless for a brief second as it drops. So I don't want the plane, whatever you have on here, jumping up and down all over the place and going crazy and falling and blowing up or whatever. It's better just to give it you know, a little bit more time and let it come down slowly than to do that. I come into use Cosby's awesome mod here, and I'm just going to release that anchor. Hold on a sec here. Release, and there it goes. So we're going to do 2 because I want to have a balanced boat, and a bigger boat probably needs a little bit more stability. So down they go. When they do hit the bottom, they will hold the ship fast and allow our Kerbals to come out and walk around on the deck and do all that crazy stuff. So basically you can you know, drive around in your boat, pilot your boat or captain your boat or whatever you want to call it. When it comes to carrier operations or shipborne operations, you have to lower an anchor or you will not be able to walk on the deck or land. You can probably land a plane on the deck, but you won't be able to walk with a Kerbal on the deck. So that's a definite necessity. Now I suggest whenever you want to do carrier operations, come up close to the shore. Do them where you can actually see the land grade come up a little bit, because you can be sitting. I've dropped anchor and waited until these cables hit 550 meters, which is 1,500 feet. So I mean, you're going to be sitting there for a while to either you know, A, get stationary and be able to walk, or B, you know, be able to get underway again, because it does take quite a while for those puppies to go all the way down and touch bottom. So the other thing I wanted to show you while we're doing that is the loading ramps. The loading ramps, not the best in the world. Okay, I realize that it's not super duper realistic. What I want to do is put some textures in here with little trenches, and the trenches have chains. So basically this is a chain system. It has cogs and chains, and it basically lowers it out and lowers it down. Has a couple little stabilizers built into the inside. You can't see them, they're magical. So anyways, the whole back end on this thing is a 3-part loading ramp. I made them in parts because some ships are small, and we want to have a ramp that's gradual enough that allows guys to walk up and vehicles to drive on. So it is quite large, but it stows itself away quite nicely, and it does work. So that's great. I'll just bring them back up again. You can see the animation in reverse. They go in, that one goes in, that one goes in, the top closes. When they're out, it does affect the center of gravity slightly. It leans it to the back a little bit, but I've also found that you probably want to do this, you know, you have a reversing engine. Every large ship should reverse. So have a reversing engine, get yourself up to the shore, back up a little bit, lower the ramp, drive on, and then take off again. So you're good to go. So there will be parking bays for the aircraft inside. You just imagine this level here, all the way to the front, like up to this section here, all this area in the front, all this area into the back on this second level, empty. And just parking spots for aircraft. Like, that's ridiculous. I think I'm going to break this game. I don't think the guys, the Kerbal Space developers, ever thought that this was going to happen to their game. Someone's going to come along and make a massive ship set of parts, aircraft carrier parts. So I mean, this is pretty crazy. I mean, I realize that I'm biting off a lot of a big goal here, and I hope that the game doesn't evolve in a way that it destroys this idea. I think this idea is cool. I think if you take this idea and we put it out in space, but if somebody came up with a way to envelop the entire ship and a certain distance, like say like just, I don't know, 0.5 meter around the ship and all the area inside the ship with a gravity well, or a nullifier of some kind, like a generator of gravity of some kind, you could pilot a space like just like Battlestar Galactica, you fly into the hangar, land, and it would have this sense of gravity inside. You could have this thing flying around in space, or something like it flying around in space, like a battle cruiser or a aircraft carrier in space. So I think it has it has potential to become something extremely cool. But and I know there's a couple guys out there like Video Magi or Magi. He's launched something. He flies his boat to the water. I've never quite done that before, but cheers to that. I think that was pretty funny. So I'll just start pulling that one up. We have one that's definitely touching ground. So sometimes it does find a way through. You can tell you're hit bottom when it says ship anchor is at idle. And this kind of just goes up and down. It's almost like the cable is stretching back and forth. That way you know you're grounded, you're good to go. You can get a Kerbal out and start walking around the deck. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little update. It's a little peek at what's coming up. And I'll keep working on this day to day. I usually work a little bit too much at this, which is a problem. But you know what? We'll take it one day at a time. We'll see what we can come up with. And I'll talk to you guys later, or I'll talk to you guys on the board. Have a nice night.